Every Disney princess has her strengths, but when it comes to Moana, many of us would agree that she's got everything in the bag. Despite her movie ending on a good note, we're still left wondering whether or not she got her happily ever after. Want to know what Moana's been up to? Well, you've come to the right place. Watch until the end to find out if the princess will be wearing a wedding dress anytime soon. New around here? Don't forget to subscribe to The Things for more amazing content to come your way. If you love Moana as much as we do, you won't hesitate to give this video a big thumbs up. Now, let's find out if Moana got the happily ever after she deserved.
See you out there, Maui.
See you out there, Moana.
She's claiming new islands. As many of you know, Moana spent most of her life fearing the ocean, but as she grew older, her curiosity got the best of her. Before long, she began dreaming of the world beyond the reef, which led her to disregard her father's warnings. Despite wanting to become a master wayfinder, Moana stayed true to her calling and learned how to become a proper ruler. However, it soon became apparent that her island was sick, which forced her to embark on the biggest adventure of her life. After reuniting Te Fiti with her long-lost heart, Moana's life changed for the better, and so did the lives of her people. At the end of Moana, you can see the young princess guiding her people through the ocean and teaching them how to sail. It's here that it becomes evident that Moana will never stay put again. Instead, she'll help her people find new islands to populate and care for. Since travel and adventure are in her blood, it's only normal for the young princess to dream of chasing the horizon. While the daughter of the chief has a job to do, she never lets this stop her from traveling across the oceanic. All in all, there isn't a person in this world who could stop Moana from her true calling, which is being the best master wayfinder Motunui has ever seen. She's befriending other princesses. It's hard to picture Moana being anywhere else but on a sailboat, but it looks like the young princess has strayed a little far from home. Wreck-It Ralph 2 is set to come out in theaters in November 21st, 2018. And believe it or not, but Moana will be making an appearance in the highly anticipated film. So what is Moana doing at the Disney Pixar headquarters? Well, it's quite simple. She's getting to know her fellow princesses. From what we gather, it looks like the Disney princesses are getting together for a sleepover party, and Moana looks more than happy to be a part of it. Despite each having a kingdom to go back to, these princesses are more than happy to kick back, relax, and talk about the hardships they've been through. When Vanellope von Schweetz glitches herself through their restricted door, she appears in the middle of the princess's headquarters and is quickly ambushed by the 14 Disney figures. Before getting the royal beating of her life, though, she confesses to being a princess herself. After grilling her with a handful of questions, Vanellope finds some common ground with her hosts. And after agreeing that people think that all her problems were solved after a big, strong man showed up, the princesses cut her some slack. Although Moana doesn't say much throughout the scene, it's pretty obvious that she's living life to the fullest. She's the new chief. Moana is the daughter of Chief Tui and Sina. However, she's a little different than her parents. While her parents harbor a great fear of the ocean, their daughter dreams of being surrounded by waves for days. Despite being raised on the notion that her people do not belong in the sea, Moana is soon given the task of reuniting Te Fiti with her heart. After a long and action-packed journey, Moana returns to Motunui to find that her island's beauty has been restored. Knowing that his daughter has what it takes to lead his people, Chief Tui passes his title down to his only child. Instead of upholding her father's rules, Moana teaches her people to become master wayfinders, like herself. With her newfound sense of freedom, Chief Moana reunites her people with their old roots, which is what her ancestors would have wanted. Despite the way she was raised, she'll never allow fear to rule her judgment again. Instead, she teaches others about the importance of going after their dreams. At the end of the film, we see her father and daughter sailing side by side, and this unexpected moment goes on to prove that anything is possible if you just believe. She's working on her second movie. With the way things ended in Moana, you would think that there was no room for a sequel, but it seems as though Disney has other plans for their oceanic princess. After becoming the chief of her people, Moana becomes a much-loved leader. She is kind, thoughtful, brave, and smart. So what's not to love, right? Despite how well things are going, Moana soon returns to see her old pal Maui, who lets her in on a little secret. After finding out that palm trees are going extinct from island to island, Moana returns home to find that her mother has fallen ill. So can you guess which special ingredient her mother needs to make it out alive? You guessed it. Coconuts. To save her mother's life, Moana sets off on a new journey that takes her to places she's never been. The second installment of this Disney movie should hit the big screen sometime in 2019. However, an exact date has yet to be set. Are you excited to see what Moana's newest adventure has in store for us? Well, you should be, because a royal wedding might be in order. Watch until the end to find out who Moana's knight in shining armor is. She's revealing her true self. There's a lot about Moana that we don't know, which makes her all the more interesting. The brave Disney princess never backs down from a fight, and she knows just what to say to make others follow her lead. The Polynesian princess might only be 16 years old, but she has more than enough experience to lead her people to greatness. Back in the day, Disney movies always ended with a wedding. However, times are changing, and this is no longer the case. In fact, movies like Brave, Frozen, and Moana have all taken place without revealing a love interest for their protagonists. Since Disney is keeping up with the times, it's only normal for there to be an LGBTQ princess on the horizon. But Disney has yet to confirm which one of their princesses will swing the other way. The directors behind the Moana franchise have spoken out about their interest in creating a non-hetero relationship for one of their star players. Directors Ron Clements and John Musker are certain that Disney characters will soon shed their romantic preferences and merely love whoever it is they're attracted to. While most fans are inclined to believe that Elsa or Merida are going to become a lesbian couple, we shouldn't strike Moana from the equation. In the end, the world needs an LGBTQ Disney princess to come to life, and this could help millions of people feel more comfortable about their orientation from the get-go. She's growing her fleet. Chief Moana wants the best for her people, which is why she does everything in her power to make them happy and comfortable. Unfortunately, not every leader is as accepting and loving as the young princess. While there was little to no talk of war throughout the Moana movie, some fans were left wondering if the Motunui people had any enemies of their own. To protect her people, we believe that Moana is sailing across the sea to discover new islands and accumulate more followers. Although it's obvious that Moana wouldn't hurt a fly, there is strength in numbers, and safely guarding her people is her biggest priority. To grow her fleet, we believe that Moana is recruiting builders and sailors and promising them a place in her kingdom. To raise a new and powerful generation of wayfinders, Moana is surely sailing across the sea and making new connections along the way. Despite having an incredible friendship with the demigod Maui, Moana was left to navigate the oceans on her own. But thankfully, Maui taught the young leader everything she needed to know on their first voyage.
When I die, I'm going to come back as one of these. Or I chose the wrong tattoo.
She's protecting sea life. There's nothing more important than family. However, without a world to live in, family wouldn't exist. With this in mind, Moana knows how crucial it is for her people to take care of the ocean and everything that lays in its path. While some people use motorboats to get around, Moana's people strictly use sailboats, which helps keep the beaches clean. If there's one person who taught Moana about the importance of following her dreams, it's the late Grandma Tala. Moana's grandmother was always her biggest supporter, and she's the one who let her in on the ancestors' secret. Grandma Tala passes away. Moana vows to accomplish her frightening task. Luckily for her, her grandmother gets reincarnated into a manta ray and follows her every step of the way. Knowing that Grandma is now a part of the ocean gives Moana even more incentive to protect all sea life. She's keeping an eye on Maui. From the very second Moana met Maui, she knew that she had her work cut out for her. Despite being the famous demigod everyone believed him to be, Maui also had a handful of secrets that he was keeping to himself. With this in mind, it wasn't surprising to see Maui turn his back on Moana and attempt to sail off with her boat. Despite becoming great friends and allies, the demigod refused to live on Moana's island after their epic journey came to an end. But that doesn't mean that she didn't keep a close eye on him from afar. After all, he did steal Te Fiti's heart the first time around. While the plot for Moana 2: The Lost Island has yet to be 100% confirmed, it's said that Moana and Maui will reunite once again. However, this time, Moana will find him on the Te Fiti Island. Despite wanting to go on a second adventure with her old pal, Moana ends up embarking on her own voyage alone. The reason behind Maui not tagging along is unknown and just a little suspicious. This is especially true considering the amount of success actor Dwayne Johnson brought to the Disney flick. Whether good or evil, we hope Maui will be a prominent figure in the franchise's second installment. She becomes the next Te Fiti. There's no use denying it, Moana is the spitting image of Te Fiti. Sure, the goddess might be as tall as a mountain and as green as the Grinch, but she is basically a mirror image of our favorite Polynesian princess. It is said that Te Fiti was the first entity to step foot on the planet, which could only be inhabited by sea life at the time. To create a home for humans, Te Fiti gave birth to islands that flourished with greenery and animals alike. Throughout the film, it becomes known that the Manatui believe in reincarnation, so this left us with one simple question. Will Moana reincarnate into the beautiful and virtuous Te Fiti? While this could seem a little far-fetched, it does make sense. So hear us out. When Te Fiti's heart was stolen from her, the ocean elected Moana to return it. This is because she alone had the kindness and bravery needed to complete such a voyage. So why would the ocean elect Moana if she didn't have some sort of special connection with the goddess? We believe that Moana is either the descendant of this ancient presence or that she's meant to take after her once she passes on to the next life. What do you think about this theory? Could Moana and Te Fiti be one and the same? She's getting married, but to who? Back in the day, there was no doubt in our minds that Disney princesses would be courted and wed by the end of their film. However, this just isn't the case anymore. If it had been, Moana evidently would have been married to Maui at the end of their adventure, but luckily she wasn't made to. In the end, Moana and Maui would be a strange couple, especially since he's about 2,000 years older than her. While getting married at 16 years old used to be acceptable, it no longer is. Well, there's talk of a second Moana movie, and if its timeline follows ours, this will make Chief Moana 19 years old. So who is the princess going to marry? According to many fan theories, the answer is a character named Retur. This mysterious personality will pose as Moana's companion throughout her second journey. And if the stars align, these two characters will fall in love. So would you rather see Moana get married, stay single, or come out as gay? Let us know in the comments section below. And that's the end of our video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on The Things.